Dread it. Run from it. The end is near.
We're gonna need some help.
How you been, Buck?
Not bad for the end of the world.
Today we don't fight for one life. We fight for all of them.
Avengers: Infinity War.
When you said we were going to open Wakanda to the rest of the world, this is not what I imagined.
What did you imagine?
The Olympics? Maybe even a Starbucks?
Everywhere April 27th.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Marvel heard that I wasn't planning on doing an Infinity War video today, so they're like, you know what? We're gonna drop a trailer, and we're gonna show you that Thanos has the Soul Stone. So I'll explain what's going on, because there are a couple different shots in different versions of the trailer they just released. The one that I added to the beginning of this is the standard aspect ratio, but they released those awful looking square ones on some social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Turns out when you watch those versions, you get slightly different footage because the frame has been extended down, so you don't get those black bars cutting off Thanos' hand, so you can actually see that he has at least 4 of the gems in the gauntlet. So of course there's a new round of that Infinity Gauntlet giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. The big thing here, like, you can't see if he has the time gem in his thumb. And you actually do need the 2 different versions of the trailer to see where he is when he's walking out of this portal that he makes using the Space Stone. So first things first, if you didn't know, when he's walking through this cloud portal looking area, that's him using the power of the Space Stone to just teleport wherever he wants to go. So far in all the trailers that we've gotten, we've only seen him port to Titan when they have that big fight with Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. But obviously we know he comes to Wakanda because we've seen all those shots of him coming up against Captain America and him trying to hold the gauntlet at bay like he's coming for Vision to take the Mind Stone. So this is a really crazy moment, but it's also kind of funny because you see Captain America's 2 tiny little hands grabbed around Thanos' fist. That's how big his sausages are. Captain America's one hand is only big enough to wrap around one of Thanos' fingers, so he's got both of them on 2 different sides of his gauntlet here. But you only see 2 gems in that gauntlet, just carefully editing some CG scenes to make you think one thing is happening in a scene when really it completely changes the context if he walks into Wakanda with at least 4 or even 5 of the gems if he's already taken the Time Stone by the time he comes to Wakanda. There's a whole bunch of other brand new shots that we get in this too. More shots of the battle, a shot of Shuri looking like she's trying to fight someone off inside her lab. Like she's probably got Vision in there, then they bail. Then you get these scenes that we've seen before where he's off in these trees, you see Captain America try to stop Thanos, and it's like, alright, time to put the last gem in the gauntlet. Because think about it this way, what would be the most effective last gem for him to collect? Vision. Because they've been trying to save him for the entire film. So it makes sense that even though they're probably more important gems, like the Soul Gem is the one that we've been talking about this whole time. Where's the final one? We'd never seen it before. What does it look like? Who holds it right now? From an emotional standpoint, they said that part of the way they get you to care about this Pokemon journey that Thanos is on, trying to collect all the gems, is that they tie that to Vision and Scarlet Witch's emotional arc. We haven't really gotten enough footage to connect those dots, but like if you understand what their relationship in the comics was, you can kind of see how they're going to lean on that for the movie, and you've gotten a couple of shots of Scarlet Witch looking like she's getting ready to lose her shit. But I have a feeling that they're going to save a lot of that for the actual movie, so you just have to like piece that together through the trailers that we see. So if you're not a big comic book fan, Vision and Scarlet Witch fall in love is this really tragic, doomed lovers story where like they can't really be together, they can't actually have children because Vision is an android, he doesn't have those biological parts. Even though he's like Data, he has full functionality, but he can't literally have a baby. There was this big saga in the comics where she had babies that were technically just shards of Mephisto. She ended up losing her mind. You got to the M-Day, no more mutants, but obviously they're not going to be going that far with Infinity War because they're not going to be doing any X-Men stuff. But the whole idea is that it's tragic, it's doomed, it's not going to work out because Thanos needs to take the gem. Something horrible is going to happen to Vision. We don't know what he's going to be like when we get to Avengers 4. But because he can self-repair, I think that we'll see a version of him carry on even though we'll also get the pleasure, or the horror, depending on how you look at it, of seeing him ripped apart. But the thing about this is that if he has the soul gem when he comes to Wakanda, does he actually find it somewhere on Titan? Because all the footage that we've seen so far makes it seem like he only has 2 gems when he's fighting the Avengers on Titan. And Doctor Strange still has the time gem too, meaning that he also might take the time gem while they're there. I've done a couple videos about Thanos' backstory. They've cut most of it for the film. Like, a lot of people wondered if there was going to be a pre-credit sequence or something like that. The Russo brothers have essentially said that there is no big super-duper flashback for Thanos that are going to tell you exactly how he got to where he was. They said they're like, there's not enough time. It's a 2.5-hour movie. So what'll happen is when we get closer to the movie, just depending on the other trailer footage that they drop, we can do a version of that in a video. So I'll explain his backstory for the movies. Don't worry about that. They've already explained a little bit about how they changed it from the comics. So if you have read Thanos Rising in the comics, that's not going to be his movie backstory. But really, the purpose of this trailer is to highlight Wakanda more. Like, you get a couple different shots as they cut that chant into it. It's just them chanting, just going crazy. So that's going to be one of the best parts of the film. And I mean, we've been talking about how the Battle of Wakanda is essentially the climax of the film anyway. But we get to see everybody arrive. Captain America greets Bucky. He's wearing his Avengers costume with his vibranium new arm. It's actually a very classic Captain America looking costume too. People are like, wow, that really looks like something from the 1940s. They really want you to think that he might become Captain America someday. Most of you have probably seen Black Panther by now. This is M'Baku, so he is officially on Team Black Panther at this point. They sort of come to terms at the end of that movie anyway. So I think he's just happy to have some fun. I'm sure they'll give him some crazy one-liner, because that was one of the biggest laughs in my theater. I'll feed you to my children. Just kidding, we're vegetarians. The cool thing about this dress that Shuri's wearing too is that it's very Black Panther-esque. Remember, eventually she ascended to the throne in the comics and became the next Black Panther. If you guys didn't know, in the lineage of Wakanda, there have been female Black Panthers before. This battle on Titan with all this energy crackling behind Thanos looks like it's coming from Doctor Strange, but I just love how he's jumping super high over this, like getting ready to punch someone in the face. I think this is the same thing as that shot that we've seen in these other trailers. It just has more finished CG. That's the crazy thing. Like, when we get closer to the movie, we can look at those original teasers that they dropped and see what the difference is, because they have a bunch of different special effects houses all working simultaneously right up until the last day. So even though you'll see some of the same footage in the theaters, it will look vastly different because they'll have spent so much more time working on the scenes, just polishing it up. Better high-res shot of the Hulk on what looks like the Asgardian ship really early in the film. Bigger shot of everybody charging the field, Black Panther at the front. This is actually different from the Captain America shot, so I'm interested to see where these two shots fall. Like, is the Captain America one much later in the film, or did they just completely change this? Because this looks like the beginning of the battle, because Black Panther is obviously going to be leading the army of Wakanda. He's the king of Wakanda. Of course, he's going to be the first one to charge the field, but the background is completely different from this other shot, so I'm guessing that this is just much later in the battle. Better footage of Iron Man really early in the film fighting the Black Order when they come for the time gem in New York City at the Sanctum. New shot of Scarlet Witch using her power in this big area of effect way, the same way she did during Age of Ultron when she sort of lost it, probably taking down a whole bunch of these Outriders at the same time. Then they kind of balance it out with a couple of jokes from Okoye, like they don't want you to crap your pants too much. When you said you wanted to open the borders of Wakanda, this isn't what I imagined. What would you imagine? The Olympics, a Starbucks maybe. The funny thing about the Black Panther movie is the way they work pop culture jokes like this into the end of that. When you said you had something cool to show me in California, I thought you were going to take me to Coachella or maybe Disneyland. So let me know in the comments, Thanos walks into Wakanda with the Soul Gem in the gauntlet. Do you think he also has the Time Gem in the thumb and we just can't see it? What'll happen next is I have some new Dragon Ball Super to post. That'll be up later today. But congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, M. Shafiq. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. There'll be a new round when I post new Marvel. Click here for that brand new Spider-Man Infinity War scene that Tom Holland just posted, and click here for brand new Game of Thrones. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.